We have a high priest up in heaven. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. He's our defender before the Father. In a temple made by God, not man. Behind the veil, in a place most holy. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Investigating, he clears the record of those redeemed by his own blood. He's blotting out my sin in the sanctuary. He seals my bond with him in the sanctuary up in heaven. He makes provision for me in the sanctuary. He's purifying heaven's temple. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. In preparation for his returning, for those who love and follow him. He's blotting out my sin in the sanctuary. He seals my bond with him in the sanctuary up in heaven. He makes provision for me in the sanctuary at the mercy seat in the holy of holies. In the holy of holies, we meet. He's blotting out my sin in the sanctuary. He seals my bond with him in the sanctuary up in heaven. He makes provision for me in the sanctuary. In the sanctuary. In the sanctuary.
I want to thank the choir. Thank you, Rose and Gordon, for your faithful work. As they sang so young, I went back in time many, many years through the corridors of time. When my brother came from E.D. Thomas School, and though I didn't know English at the age of 7 or 8, we could sing in English. If you're a minister's, pastor's child, they taught you to sing in English. We didn't understand. So my brother told me to sing the song, "The Lord's My Shepherd," I sang, and he sang in parts. I said, "Why are you confusing me?" He said, no, you go ahead. And it was all confusing. At one time, when Pastor Sam Raj was principal of one of the schools, his son Franklin and his cousin and friends like Ruben Latour and Paul. I think Paul Spicer's father was a treasurer. So they all went and sang in parts. A nice song, after which an elderly gentleman said, "Thambi, you all sang very well, but all four of you sang four different songs. It was so confusing. If you would have sang one song, it would have been very great." Well, after going to E.D. Thomas, a couple of years after that, I joined the choir. There was no choice. And I learned what harmony is. And it was beautiful to hear you. Thank you. It's a joy to come to Hosur Church. I look at the faces and I find it's all a new generation. I remember coming to see this. One of the first ones to come, we were three of us, led by one Wadiyar who was the kind of a realtor, a broker you call in this part of the world. We looked at three properties and this was one. I looked at it and said, this is no way going to become a headquarters for Southern Asia. It was like Ezekiel 37, the valley of dry bones. There were no lawns manicured just like this. It was so dry. It was a wilderness, and I never thought this would. But we chose this property, and we developed it. And I used to come once in a while, and slowly, life begins to spring. The press, where you have the press next to the tank here, I don't know what you have that now. That was one of the first room built. And slowly, houses came up. And then the office, and we had no church. Thank you, Pastor Christo. Due to his persistence, prayer, and love, this beautiful house for the glory of God was built. And I'm happy to be here this morning. For our meditation, I would like us to turn our Bibles to Gospel of Mark. Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, beginning from verse 46. The blind Bartimaeus is healed. Gospel of Mark, chapter 10, verse 46. Then they came to Jericho, and as he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great multitude, blind Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, sat by the road begging. H.G. Wells tells us about a mountain climber. He climbed up a steep, dangerous mountain. No one had ever reached the summit of that mountain. But this man did. And not only that, what he did was he went on the other side of the mountain. And he was surprised to see on the other side of the mountain there were people, a village full of blind people. That intrigued him. He stayed there for a while and tried to tell them what is around them. He told them about the sky, how beautiful flowers are, wildflowers. And soon, the people of the village who were blind thought that he was crazy. And they wanted to get rid of this crazy man. He says that he can see But he tells all strange things. And finally they thought they will kill him. Knowing this somehow, under the cover of darkness, they couldn't see. He escaped. Blind people have different perspective. This morning we are going to consider together the story of a blind man. It says that when they came to Jericho, and as they went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great multitude, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. They came to Jericho. Jericho is an ancient Old Testament city which is mentioned in the New Testament at least 4 times in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Hebrews. We came across Jericho. First time when the children of Israel, they crossed the Jordan River, and that was the first city they had to face. A city with an impregnable fortress. And Moses, under inspiration, leads them 7 days, on the 7th day, 7th time. And the mighty walls come trembling down. It was in Jericho that Jesus saved Zacchaeus. We read about the Good Samaritan on the way to Jericho. Jericho is one of the oldest continuously inhabited city of the world. Jericho was given by Mark Antony to Cleopatra as a present, as a token of his love for her. Cleopatra leased it to Herod the Great. And historian tells us that at least half of the income of Judea he got from Jericho. Jericho was known for 3 important things. Number 1, it had date palms, number of them. Number 2, balsam groves. Number 3, it had rose gardens all around that sent its perfume all around. You can smell roses, as it were, miles around. To this, in fact, this Jericho means smell, fragrance. In fact, to this city of fragrance comes Jesus. And add to that great fragrance comes Jesus, the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valley. So when he enters into Jericho, the whole city, as it were, was full of fragrance. And he went out of Jericho with his disciples, and a great multitude. Blind beggar, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. This is the only incidents in a parable where the name of the man is given, name of his father is given, the name of the place is given, all 3. Jericho, the city of fragrance. But there was one individual in Jericho that day was not all that happy. He was blind Bartimaeus. He could not see, for he was blind. Everything was dark around him. Day and night made no difference. The songwriter put it beautifully. One sat alone beside the highway begging. He clutched his hands and shivered in the shadows. Then Jesus came and bade his darkness away. Jesus comes to the town of Jericho. This man, blind Bartimaeus, who was ostracized, disinherited, banned from society, ridiculed, teased, who was not wanted, he is at the roadside. All of a sudden there was a great hustle, an excitement, noise. Blind Bartimaeus was smart enough to understand that there was something special going on. It is not the Passover crowd, it is not the travelers. There is something in the air. So he asked, what is happening? Someone said, Jesus of Nazareth is passing this way. Jesus of Nazareth? He got all the more excited. As he sat at the roadside begging, he has heard women passing by to fetch water, talking about Jesus, about his parables, about his miracles. He has even heard that Jesus has raised a dead man. And he said, there is hope for me today. He said, there is hope for me. I want us to observe 3 or 4 things in this story. Number 1, there is a need. Recognition of a need is very important. Bartimaeus realized that there was a great need in his life. He was blind. He knew that. We are blind as well. He may be physically blind, but we with 20/20 vision, we are spiritually blind. Bartimaeus could see Jesus for who he is, although he could not, he was blind. We can see, but we fail to see who Jesus is very often. In that sense, we are blind. There was a great need. He recognized that he was in need. I wonder how many of us this morning realize our need, realize our true condition, that we are short of the glory of God, that I am a sinner, I am helpless, I am hopeless without Jesus in my life. And as Jesus was passing by, he takes courage and he says, Jesus! People near him say, you are blind, you are a beggar, you are a nobody, will you please shut up? The Bible tells us, the more they tried to quiet him, he shouted all the more, loudly, Jesus. He should have really said Jesus of Nazareth, because everybody addressed him Jesus of Nazareth. I want you to notice the insight this man had, this blind man had. He looked at him and he said, Jesus, not of Nazareth, Jesus, thou son of David. Because this term, son of David, is a special messianic term used only for the Messiah. When all others called him Jesus of Nazareth, this blind man recognized him as Messiah. People with 20/20 vision failed to see Jesus for who he was. He was the Messiah standing in front of him. But this blind man could see beyond his blindness and called Jesus, Jesus, the Son of David. First of all, there is a need. Secondly, belief. First is a need, second is a belief. Belief that Jesus can meet that need. Jesus can meet that need. Bartimaeus believed with all of his heart that Jesus can meet my need today. That is why nobody could quiet him. The more they tried to quiet him, the more he shouted, Jesus, thou Son of David. And he asks for help. And the third element is asking. First is a need. Second is a belief that Christ can meet that need. Third is asking for help. And what was his asking? It was a prayer. What was the prayer? Jesus, thou Son of David, have mercy on me. Just 4 words. Have mercy on me. What a lovely prayer. What a beautiful prayer. We need to pray that every day. Psalms are full of such kind of prayer. Lord, have mercy on me. And what happens? The Bible tells us in the next verse. When Jesus hears this, Lord, have mercy on me. My Bible tells, 49th verse, so Jesus stood still. Our prayers have a great effect. The prayer of this blind, poor man, Bartimaeus, made Jesus to stop all his activities amidst this crowd and noise. There were a lot of vendors on the roadside crying out for people to come and buy goods. There were disciples, there were other believers, other strangers, all talking at one time. But when Bartimaeus said, Jesus, thou Son of David, have mercy on me, Jesus stood still. When you pray, God stops all his activities and he centers his attention on you. Your prayer has that effect. And Jesus commanded him to come to him. Now what happens? People who said, shut up, now they are saying, cheer up. Just 2 words in each of these phrases, shut up and cheer up. But what a difference it makes. What a difference it makes. He gets up. Have you ever seen a blind man jumping? That's what Bartimaeus wanted all of his life. He longed to see. And when he saw an opportunity, he decided that this is a destiny-making day for me. I know this is the Messiah. I know that he can heal me. But how can I reach to him? I will shout. Nothing can stop me. No onlookers, no citizens of my village or city, Jericho. Nobody can stop me. When God calls, what do? Is there anything that can stop you? Are there anything stopping you? Bartimaeus realized that salvation is a quick matter. Solution to my problem of blindness is a quick thing. I cannot let it go. He could have said, Jesus, thou son of David, these people are, standing between you and me. I am blind, I cannot come to you. No, he never said that. He jumped up. And the wheels began to turn in the mind of this blind man. He got up. In his excitement, we can see the people giving way. They said, cheer up. People said, you have no way. They move. They give him way. Just like the children of Israel in the wilderness. You see, the mighty army of Pharaoh was pursuing them. Mountains of either side, Red Sea in front of them. There was no way. But God made a way out of no way. We see blind Bartimaeus doing the same. There was no way to get to Jesus who was on the other end. But he leaps up in faith, and the crowd begins to push and make a way for him. Way out of no way. He reaches Jesus. There was a need. He believed that Christ can meet that need. He knew that Christ is the answer to all his problems. Christ is a solution to his predicaments. He knew that Christ is the answer. He asked in faith. In response to that faith, Jesus stood still and commanded him to come. And Bartimaeus goes to see Jesus. And as he takes a couple of steps, there was one other problem. He had an overcoat, a cloak, an overcoat that was hindering him. That may not be as fit as the jackets you are wearing. It is a huge overcoat, and he used it had a multi-purpose. You see, at night he could cover, it would shield him from the cold. During the day, he would use it as an umbrella. And also when people gave him alms, he will take it and put, that was his bank. And that vest or that overcoat had all the money that he had in the pocket. But at that moment when he wanted to go to Jesus, he couldn't go as quickly, as easily as he wanted to. And so what he does, he takes this cloak and he throws it away. He was not worried about his earthly riches. When Jesus calls you, what is your challenge? What stands between you and your Savior? Bartimaeus gave up everything. The only possession that he loved so much, that meant nothing to him when the Savior called him. How about you? What about you? When God calls you, Lord, I'm building a house here. I need to finish. I cannot take the transfer call. My children are studying. In fact, they are writing 10th or 12th. 6 more months. I will stay here, then I will go. Lord, I have just begun my work and it's just growing. I need to build this church. Fund is coming. I need to put my name. Lord, I cannot take baptism. I cannot keep the Sabbath now. Just 2 more years to retire. When I retire, I'll take baptism. I can keep the Sabbath. What is hindering you? Bartimaeus did not think. His decision was automatic. He wanted to give up everything and run to Jesus. And he goes to Jesus. And Jesus says, what do you want? What do you want? Is it a foolish question? No. Jesus wants to find out what is the number one thing in your life. I know you need. At that time he could have told, these people are very mean, Master. All these years they've been very mean to me until you called. In fact, they told me to shut up. You can go on telling many things. I remember a teacher of mine who came to me maybe 15, 17 years ago, wanting a job. There was a job available, a small job, but he was old and he could sit and do the job very efficiently. I knew him as a teacher. Somebody told me, our teacher, if there is any way you can do, we see an ad. I determined in my mind, I will help him. He came and he sat in front of me. I wished him, got up in the Indian way and sat down, and he began his story. He was bitter about everything in life. He told about the president of the division who was so mean to him. I said, let's forget about it. We are here for something. He said, just listen to me. Went on for next 1 hour. Unburdening, telling what was wrong with that president. I told him, I have also worked with him. Forget about it. To cut the long story short, he finished his time and he walked away. He never got the job. He never told me, Stanley, I've come here. I need a job. I'm happy you're here. No. Sometimes when the opportunity arises, we beat around the bush and we say so many things except the thing that we want. He wanted sight. And the blind man said to him, Rabbi, let me recover my sight. Another translation says, Lord, that I may see. What a beautiful prayer. We need to pray that as well. Lord, I have 20/20 vision, but still I am blind to the gift of Jesus to me. I don't understand it fully, or if I understand very often, I don't take it literally. I don't behave as if Jesus is the greatest gift to me. Please open my eye that I may behold the glory of the Lord. Please open my eyes that I may see the wonders of God's grace. Psalmist prays, open my eyes that I may behold the wondrous things out of your law. Jesus gives him the eyesight. What a privilege and honor. The first face he sees is the face of Jesus. The very first time he could see to the wonders of this world, he see the grace and beauty of Jesus' face. What a privilege. What a privilege. There was a need. He believed that Christ can meet that need. He asked in faith, Lord, Jesus, thou Son of David, have mercy on me. In response to that beautiful prayer, Jesus stood still, commanded him to come, and gave him the eyesight. And finally, the gospel story reads that he followed Jesus on the road. The last phrase of this beautiful story, he became a follower, he became a believer. He didn't say, Lord, thank you very much. I have not seen anything like this before. I need to see who are my parents. I need to see who are my brothers. I need to take a look at these mean people who were troubling me so many years. He was an old man at the time. No. He left everything and he followed Jesus. Followed Jesus. What a wonderful day. My life has been wrought since Jesus came into my heart. Floods of joy over my soul. like the sea billows roll, since Jesus came into my heart.